Properly adjudicating non-basketball moves is a key component of our officiating focus heading into the playoffs. We will start the video with an example of an offensive player abnormally extending part of his body into his defender. The highlighted offensive player, Jalen Green, overtly extends his right leg and he initiates illegal contact with the defender, Tyrese Maxey, tripping him and sending him to the floor. As this is clearly more than marginal contact, this is correctly ruled an offensive foul by the lead official. Now let's look at another play where a shooter extends part of his body outside his normal motion to shoot. The offensive player here, Terrence Mann, extends his right leg out to the side and he makes marginal contact with the defender, Drew Holiday. Note that since this is only marginal contact initiated by Mann, this correctly results in a no call, and it is a play-on situation. The next type of non-basketball move to review is a dribbler veering off his path and the contact associated with this type of play. The highlighted dribbler here, Fred VanVleet, moves past his defender, Bruce Brown, but VanVleet then abruptly moves to his right, initiating illegal contact with Brown. This contact by VanVleet is more than marginal, as it clearly affects Brown's ability to defend the play. An offensive foul on VanVleet was correctly called on this play. Here we will see another example of illegal contact between the dribbler and his defender. The highlighted dribbler, Chris Paul, drives toward the paint and he moves past his defender, Joel Ingles. But Paul then abruptly moves to his right, initiating illegal contact with Ingles. This contact by Paul is more than marginal, as it clearly affects Ingles' ability to defend the play, and the offensive foul on Paul is correctly called. In contrast to the previous examples, the highlighted dribbler here, C.J. McCollum, drives toward the paint, and he does not veer off his path in any way. The trailing defender, Darius Garland, moves into McCollum's path without establishing legal guarding position, and Garland makes more than marginal contact with McCollum. As the replays show, the contact on this play was clearly initiated by the defender, and it was correctly ruled a defensive foul. The next type of non-basketball move we will review is an offensive player launching or leaning into a defender at an abnormal angle or trajectory. The highlighted offensive player, Victor Oladipo, receives the ball, and as he starts his upward motion to shoot, he moves overtly and abruptly to his right, initiating more than marginal contact with his defender, Caris LeVert. The replays show the overt movement by Oladipo, and the offensive foul was correctly called. The final play in this section will show contact after a shot fake that results in a defensive foul. After the shot fake by the offensive player, Brandon Ingram, the defensive player, Jared Vanderbilt, moves forward and he moves into Ingram, right as Ingram starts his upward motion to shoot. We can see that Ingram made no abnormal or overt movement into the defender, and because the contact on this play is more than marginal, it is a defensive foul on Vanderbilt. The final type of non-basketball move to review is when an offensive player uses his off arm to initiate contact with the defender. Here, the dribbler, James Harden, uses his off arm to hook the arm of the defensive player, Anthony Simons. This illegal contact by Harden impedes Simons' ability to continue defending the play, and an offensive foul on Harden was correctly called on this play by the lead official. The final play in this section will show another example of contact initiated by an offensive player, but in this case, it will be only marginal contact. The offensive player, Julius Randle, drives toward the paint, and he then uses his left arm to initiate marginal contact with the defender, Mike Muscala, as he attempts to gather the ball. As the contact initiated by Randle here is only marginal contact, there is no foul by either player, and this play was correctly ruled a no call and a play-on situation. The next point of education to review is traveling. This first play will show an example of an offensive player committing a traveling violation on the perimeter. The offensive player, Kevin Huerter, establishes his left foot as his pivot foot, but he then lifts that left foot prior to releasing the ball on the dribble. A traveling violation was correctly called on this play. Next, we will see an example of what is commonly referred to as an axis travel. The offensive player, James Wiseman, receives the pass from his teammate and he establishes his right foot as his pivot foot. Wiseman then slides and moves that right foot, repositioning it multiple times. This is illegal footwork, and the traveling violation is correctly called by the trail official. Our final example in the traveling section shows a violation that occurs after the offensive player has gathered the ball. The offensive player, Monte Morris, drives toward the basket, and after he gathers the ball, he then takes more than the allowed 2 steps before releasing the ball on the field goal attempt. The replay clearly shows Morris gathers the ball in midair, and he then steps with his right, then his left, and finally with his right foot again for an illegal 3rd step. This is a traveling violation, and it was correctly called here.